Imagine it's the fourth quarter of the state championship and the local football team is losing against their rivals by a field goal, but the other team has the ball. Who has the responsibility of cheering up the crowd? Most people's first thought would be the cheerleaders because for the most part, they are viewed as the supporters, but not athletes themselves. That couldn't be any farther from the truth though. In fact, cheerleading takes more athletic ability than any other two sports combined. The definition of a sport is any activity involving physical exertion and a skill in which any individual or team competes against another or others for entertainment. First of all, cheerleading doesn't have an off-season, which requires a lot of sacrifice from the team members. The days of simply showing up and supporting your team are long gone. Today's cheerleaders are not only expected to cheer at events, but also compete themselves. Cheerleaders spend winter, spring, summer, and fall practicing and competing. We spend our entire summer break practicing, which leaves you with very little downtime when you also have a summer job like most hospital students. The requirements for a competition squad are as physically demanding as any other team. Practice is year-round, including cheer camps and qualifying for competitions throughout the winter. Cheerleaders, like all other athletes, compete for an opportunity to participate in a tournament in which we receive a score. The UCA Nationals are held in Orlando, Florida during the month of February each year. The sad thing is, most people don't know they compete, so therefore the supporters receive very little support themselves. Although cheerleading does require a lot of practice and preparation, some people will say it isn't a sport, but more of an activity. Well, in my opinion, an activity should be pretty safe. Yet in my 6 years of cheerleading, I've seen many injuries such as torn ACLs, broken arms, and sprained ankles. So obviously it's the complete opposite. Cheerleading is, according to an article in the Life Science magazine, high school cheerleading accounted for 65.1% of all sports injuries among high school females over the past 25 years. Although most of the injuries are sprains such as ankles and wrists, life-threatening injuries do occur. The dramatic increase in serious injuries in cheerleading over the past couple decades shows that it takes a well-trained athlete to compete on a competition squad. The reason for the huge increase in cheerleading accidents is due to the evolution of the sport. Although they still show up and support the teams, they are no longer limited to jumping up and down and shaking pom-poms on the sidelines. In fact, most cheerleading squads are required to perform gymnastics routines not only on the mats, but on hardwood and concrete floors as well, which over the past 6 years can damage our wrists and ankles. It's very common for cheerleaders to go straight from cheerleading practice to gymnastics or to work out. Cheerleading takes up just as much time as football, basketball, and any other sports that are praised in the high school. When spending this much time working out, you're more likely to become run down and injure yourself. In conclusion, I know that no matter how hard I or any other cheerleader tries to convince people, most people will never see a cheerleader as an athlete, or cheerleading as a sport for that matter. But I hope this has opened some eyes about the demands and sacrifices that do go into this so-called activity. In closing, I would like for you to think about this quote. Not all athletes are cheerleaders, but all cheerleaders are athletes.